Hi everyone, thanks for joining me for 11.1. Today we're going to talk about integers and absolute value. So this is kind of picking up from what you may have learned last year or in sixth grade. And this is more of the seventh grade curriculum, and we're really building off of what we learned last time from integers. So remember that these numbers here are examples of integers. So we're looking at whole numbers and their opposites. So you could keep going in this direction forever and keep going in the positive direction forever. And in this chapter, eventually we'll get to adding and subtracting and multiplying and dividing integers. But today we're just going to be working with them and kind of looking at their absolute values. And let's go there now. Remember, an absolute value of an integer is the distance between the number and 0 on a number line. The absolute value of number 8 is written with those, sometimes I call them the train tracks, or those two parallel lines to each other. This would be the absolute value of A. In this case, we have the absolute value of -4, which means how far from 0 is -4? Well, it's 4 units. Remember, it's a distance, and distances are always positive measures. So that's why the answer here is +4. And same for the absolute value of +4. Well, it is 4 away from 0. So there is a quick little reminder, an absolute value for you. So let's try a few examples. The first one says find the absolute value of 2. So essentially, what we're doing is, sorry, that's not the most straight number line I've ever made. We're seeing how far away from 0 is 2. Well, it's 1, 2 distances. It's 2 away from 0. So the absolute value of 2 is equal to 2. 2 is our answer. It's 2 away from 0. Same with the second example, the absolute value of -3. So this is one way that you might see it written. You might also see it written like this. Find the absolute value of -3 with those two lines. Well, that just means on a number line, how far away is -3 from 0? Well, it's 1, 2, 3 away from 0. So 3 would be our answer. Okay. Why don't you go ahead and pause the video next for these 4 on your own absolute value problems. All right, 7 is 7 away from 0. -1 is 1 away from 0. -5 is 5 away from 0. And 14 is 14 away from 0. If you have more questions, please let me know. In the next example, we are comparing values. So when you think of comparing values, you should be thinking of greater than, less than, equal to. Remember, the less than kind of makes the sideways L. And what I like to do first in these types of problems is I like to say, okay, well, what is the actual value of the absolute value of -4? Well, the absolute value of -4 is +4. So if I were to compare 1 and +4, I would say that +4 is bigger. So if I would say that Pac-Man would eat the 4 because 4 is greater than 1. So my final answer here would have 1 is less than the absolute value of -4. Okay. Go ahead and pause for 5, 6, 7, and 8. Number 5, the absolute value of -2 is +2, and positives are always greater than negatives. So Pac-Man should eat the absolute value of -2. Here, this would remain a positive answer, so -7 is less than the absolute value of 6. For number 7, the absolute value of 10 would be 10, and 10 is less than 11. And the absolute value of negative 9 is 9. So 9 is equal to the absolute value of negative 9. All right, we have one example left and one on your own, and we'll be finished. For example 4, it says the freezing point is the temperature at which a liquid becomes a solid. Which substance in the table has the lowest freezing point? Okay. If you wanted to, you could order these on a number line and see which one is furthest to the left. But remember, when we're talking about lowest, we're talking about furthest number to the left if I had it on a number line. Okay, that would be furthest to the left would be the lowest, or the least number. So the smallest of these, the least number, looks like it is airplane fuel. And thank heavens for that. The substance, that's airplane fuel at negative 53 degrees Celsius, because if that didn't have a low freezing point, you wouldn't want to be riding an airplane during the winter months, because if it froze up, that would not be a good thing, right? So that's a really good thing. Letter B says, is the freezing point of mercury or butter closer to the freezing point of water, which is 0 degrees Celsius? So I'm looking at mercury, which is at negative 39 degrees Celsius, and butter, which is at 35 degrees Celsius. So which one of these is closer to the freezing point of water? Well, butter would be 35 away, and mercury would be 39 away. So that would be butter, because it's only 35 away from 0, and mercury is 39 away from 0. All right, try the last on your own here. And it says, is the freezing point of airplane fuel or candle wax closer to the freezing point of water? And explain your reasoning. So I have airplane fuel, which is negative 53. Okay, the absolute value of that would be 53, so it's 53 away from water, versus candle wax, which is 55. And the absolute value of 55 is 55, so this is 55 away from water. So which one of these is closer, 53 or 55? Well, the freezing point of airplane fuel is closer, because it's only 53 away versus 55 for the wax. Alrighty, I'm really hoping that this lesson was, for the most part, a review for you. But if you have any questions, please let me know. And that does it for 11.1. I will see you next time.